Good morning, guys. Welcome back into the AM show on this Wednesday morning. It's a good Wednesday morning so far, Z, right?
Oh, yeah. Solid.
We are feeling good. Now, guys, our next guest is a true multi-talent actress, model, TV host, and entrepreneur. You've seen her in classics like Full House and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and now she's moved on to some dramatic roles on The Outer Banks and All the Queen's Men. And beyond acting, she's also a philanthropist, a wellness advocate, and a caregiver. So without further ado, Enya Flack, welcome to the AM show.
Come on, let's go.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the West Coast this morning. I know it's very early for you, so we just wanted to say we appreciate you coming on so much.
Well, like I said, I'm so happy to be here. I get up early anyway, no worries.
Good, perfect, wonderful. Now, you have had such a versatile career, and I just want to know, were you always drawn to performing, or did you kind of have other dreams as a kid?
I think I was always drawn to performing in one way or another. I was always far too shy when I was growing up to say audition for any school plays or whatever, but my mother got me started in ballet when I was about 6, and then I got into music. I had piano lessons and harp lessons at age 7 and 9. So I've been on some sort of stage from a pretty early age all the way around, and I think I was sort of destined to do something in the entertainment industry.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So do you still practice? Do you still play the harp? That's my question, because the harp is pretty fantastic.
Let's say I still have one.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I still have one that I got when I was a kid. And it's funny because just over Christmas, I took my mom to this really wonderful Christmas harp recital, and it got the juices flowing in me again. And the lady who was directing this group of young harpists and playing Christmas carols and whatnot, she says, it would just be wonderful if you can play with us next year. So I thought, oh boy, maybe that's the inspiration I needed. So I think I will try picking it up again.
I love it.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's such a unique instrument too. You always hear of people's first instrument kind of being the piano, or I don't know, something a little bit more simple, I guess. But the harp, you can't really carry it with you around either. But I think it's a beautiful instrument nonetheless.
Well, my parents did have to buy a station wagon in order just to transport it when I was a kid. So yeah, it comes with a lot of other accessories, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that kind of just being creative, it seems, has kind of just been that passion of yours since you were a kid. And I know that you've done work in front of the camera. You've also done work behind the camera. But was there anything specifically kind of when you were learning, when you were growing up, that has really helped to shape the type of actress you are today?
You know what? I think it's like anything. The more experiences you have just generally in life, the more you can do whatever it is that you're doing. And that's certainly the case. It has been the case for me with acting.
They see actors in motion and they see essentially the finished product after post-production and things like that. But can you give us a 30-second summary of what a day in the life is when you get called to set from the top of the morning from the point that you leave set?
Well, let me talk about sitcoms, at least as they used to be. So say on a Monday, you would do what's called a cast read. You go and sit around a table, and that's where the writers and the actors and producers, everybody involved, sitting around a table, and you get to hear the words on the script for the first time. That afternoon, you might go in wardrobe and hair and makeup to see, what they want to do with you for the actual production. On Tuesday, you do your first rehearsal, and then you have producers come in, writers who come in to listen to see if the lines are working. Wednesday and Thursday, same thing, only Wednesday the network folks come in. Thursday, you're doing camera blocking. So the camera folks come in and they're sort of seeing where the actors are going at any given point so that they could know where to go. And then Friday, you're shooting. You usually show up around noon, on to hair and makeup, and then you shoot, or at least at that time, before an audience. It's not quite as often that we have an audience anymore, but then you shoot that evening. And so in that way, that's one of the reasons I love sitcoms, because it's more of a 9 to 5 kind of a deal.
Gotcha. You can understand exactly what your schedule is like. It's not so much up in the air. But I just want to talk a little bit about a big transition that you've actually made in your acting career. And you were saying a little earlier in the interview that maybe some roles you're doing now you couldn't have done 20 years ago because you didn't have that life experience, and you've now transitioned into some more dramatic roles from your time on Outer Banks. And of course, what we need to talk about right now, All the Queen's Men, which you are starring in. Absolutely incredible. It's on BET Plus. Tyler Perry wrote it. I mean, we have some footage right here. It's so incredible. So you play District Attorney Rods, who's not just a typical lawyer. So tell me about this experience. How did you get involved with the project, and what it's been like being on the set of this production?
Well, I don't know if I could have been more shocked about getting the part than I was. This is the first, this is the grittiest role that I've been asked to play, and it's been absolutely a wonderful experience. I auditioned like, I'm sure hundreds of other actors did for this. And I'll tell you what really was fascinating for me, or has been fascinating about this role, is one time I actually did think about going to law school. I even took the LSATs, did pretty well in it too, but decided, not to for one reason or another. And so it's been kind of fun for me to get to play an actor on TV, as they say. I was also married to an attorney. He's passed away, but I've been able to draw from some of the things that I saw him do as an attorney, and some of the things that he told me, some of his concerns, his frustrations, and bring that to the character.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear about your loss, but I think it's wild that you actually were going to become a lawyer, and then you ended up playing a lawyer. Is it what you thought being a lawyer would be? Is it a little different?
It's different. It's very different. It's quite different. I mean, I even used to like to go and sit in on cases here and there when I was in college. I like to go and sit and just watch the proceedings and everything. DA Rods, she's been pretty much by the book up to this point. But Madame DeVille, played by Eva Marcel, she's a slippery character, and playing by the books has not worked. So we're starting to see that DA Rods will in fact do whatever it takes.
I love that.
You mentioned that DA Rods. The word that stuck out for me, gritty. Okay, so gritty means a lot of things. I'm thinking, cutthroat, or you beating people up. My question is, how much different is DA Rods from you?
She's pretty different. I tend to play. I'm a daredevil, but I do tend to play by the rules. I was brought up as a good Christian girl in North Carolina, and so I always have that small voice in the back of my head. I'm tempted at times on things, but she's different. So hey, maybe she's my alter ego. She does all the things like I'd like to do, but.
But isn't that so fun though, that you get to put on a different cloak every day when you go into the office, and you can literally transform into a different person? Is it hard for you to get into it, or is it like when you step into set, okay, no, now I'm DA Rod, no, I'm not Enya anymore?
Oh no, it's very fun. I mean, the thing about acting is, what other job do you get paid for playing Let's Pretend? Something that a lot of us did as a kid. It's an amazing job. It can be frustrating, trying to get those roles and whatnot, but I absolutely love what I do.
Incredible. Amazing. And you're working on a Tyler Perry set, a Tyler Perry written production. What's that like, going into work every day?
It's incredible. I mean, I hate to say it sounds so Pollyannic, but I work at Tyler Perry Studios. It's been really an incredible experience. I've been on a lot of sets, a lot of studios, a lot of studio lots, and this is unlike any other. From the actors and the producers down to the groundskeepers, everybody, there's a sense of gratefulness among everybody that I just have not seen anyplace else. It's honestly, I think, a privilege for all of us to get to work on that lot.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's incredible. The show is so successful. It's already in season 4. You're absolutely crushing it as the district attorney, and we're so proud of you. That's so awesome. So if you guys want to check it out, definitely catch BET Plus, where you guys can watch the show. Now, Enya, there is so much more to chat with you about, because on top of just everything you're doing in front of the camera, you're also doing incredible things outside of acting as well, from philanthropy to other stuff that kind of just fills your soul and feeds your passion. So I definitely want to get into all of that. But first, we're just going to take a quick commercial break. So please stay with us. And when we come back, we're going to dive into all those other incredible things. All right? All right. We will be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the AM show. It has been amazing. If you are just tuning in with us, we have a fantastic guest. Again, she's a multi-hyphenate. She does a little bit of everything. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to call her a Swiss Army knife of actresses. Enya Flack is with us, of All the Queen's Men and many other productions. And we have been having an amazing conversation with her. And we're just going to keep it rolling. So if you've jumped in, you jumped in at just the right time. And I'm going to dive right in. Yeah. We have spoken about your acting, and we've discussed what it's like in the day in the life on the set, your inspirations, how you got started, your harp skills. Come on. And but one of the things that stands out about an element of your personal life. So you set up a scholarship in your mother's honor for young women and education, and I think that's just incredible. As where you have reached and the point in your career to be able to pour into young women and to build them up, you're just such a role model. But you've started this scholarship fund in your mother's honor. How did this get started? What is it about? Can you shed some details? We want to know all about this.
Oh, thank you so much for asking about it. So this is the Ravina Greenfield Flack honorary scholarship in my mom's honor. As you said, my mom was a public school teacher for about 45 years, I believe it is. And, she just poured so much into her students. She went far beyond, above and beyond what a teacher would normally do just in the classroom. And I know that there are a lot of teachers who are like that, who go into the field. They certainly don't do it for the money. It's not an overly lucrative career. It is a passion for most people that go into education. And unfortunately, we don't value them enough, in my opinion. And so this is just something that I wanted to do. My mom is now 98 years old. Wow. And I believe in giving people their flowers while they're still with us. And I was just inspired to do this. I do love encouraging young women. That's been a passion of mine for many, many years. I went through the Miss America pageant system scholarship, which is a scholarship pageant. And I've been encouraging and supporting young women, especially in their educational pursuits whenever possible.
Incredible.
That's so beautiful, just you being able to give back in that kind of way. Now, what do you look for in a candidate that may be receiving this scholarship?
Well, it is a need-based scholarship, but it's also an academic scholarship. So we do look for people who may come from, we'll just say, underprivileged situations, but who are doing well. We look for at least a 3.5 grade point average. So we're looking for people who, do have a likelihood of being successful in education this way.
I think that's, it's so beautiful. Now, I just want to know, what was your mom's reaction when you told her that you were doing this? You say you want to give someone their flowers while they're still able to receive them. So what was that moment like for you?
Oh, she cried.
Oh.
I sort of gave it to her as a Christmas gift a few years ago, and wasn't quite sure about it at first. And when we first started looking at it, we were specifically trying to give the award to a young woman at her alma mater, which was Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina. Unfortunately, their program, or the number of people studying education who wanted to go into education, was pretty small, which that says something. So widened that a little bit.
Wow.
Oh, I love it. I'm sure it was such an emotional moment.
I know. That's incredible. Has your mom inspired you as an educator? Has she inspired you in just ways of life?
Oh my gosh, yes. My mom is I know everybody says that, but my mom really is incredible. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, I remember that her, former students, we would go to the mall or whatever, and inevitably somebody would come up to her and say, "Oh, you're my second mama," da, 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 da," and it used to make me. So anyway, no, this is mommy. But I'll just, but I'll tell you one very quick and great story that kind of gives you the sense of my mom and how inspirational she's been. So there was a young lady who my mom taught 8th grade science. Young lady in her class who had been kept back 3 years in the 8th grade. She was kind of known as a troublemaker in the school. Well, she ended up in my mom's class and was, causing a ruckus in class. And my mom asked her to stay after, and she talked with her, and she was, kind of belligerent about the whole thing. But my mom, she said, "Sweetheart, can you read?" And apparently the girl broke down in tears.
Wow.
She had made it all the way to the 8th grade, and it gets me very emotional. Made it all the way to the 8th grade and been there 3 years and didn't know how to read.
Wow.
And she just had been passed through the system because she was a troublemaker. Anyway, my mom told her, "Listen, you have an hour for lunch. If you will come back to me every day for half of that time, and you can even bring your lunch here, then I will teach you how to read."
Wow.
By the end of the year, not only had she learned how to read, she passed and went on to the 9th grade, and today she is a teacher.
Wow, come on.
That gives me goosebumps right there. I think that just proves the point that you have to care to be an educator as well. If you're not caring, you're in the wrong profession. And you see kids, you're saying this young girl, she was lashing out. It was probably because no one was taking her seriously. No one was looking at her, and she was crying for help. And thank God she found your mother. Wow, what an inspiring story.
It's amazing.
Wow, that is, it's wonderful that you have this scholarship in her name. She's definitely well deserving, your mom, for that. And I know that one of your future plans is to actually start a podcast, kind of discussing and connecting with other folks who may be going through something similar as you, where they're taking care of an elderly parent, someone that they love and care for. You said your mom was 98 years old. So can you explain that and why starting a podcast is something you really want to do?
I will do it. I'm still research, but my mom, very thankfully, is actually in great health considering her age. What I realize is I have a number of female friends, and we get to talking, and we're all sort of in that same boat right now. We all have elderly parents or aging parents, and we find ourselves in the position of having to parent those parents, having to make decisions for those parents. I have, for example, a power of attorney for my mom now. And and it's sort of cathartic for us all and therapeutic for us all to just sort of talk to each other, like, "Hey girl, have you heard this? I mean, my mom did this today." Yeah. And it sort of kind of keeps you on a more even keel, because otherwise you feel like sometimes like, is it just me? And this is something that very few of us are prepared to do. You can always have it in the back of your mind, like, yeah, one day. But I think that there needs to be more of a discussion about, the things that are like, it can possibly occur. Everything from health to health care to just the cost of health care. How to talk to a parent and with respect and honoring their wishes, but at the same time doing what is best for them, that sort of thing. So there's a number of different topics that, once again, are just not generally discussed. So this is why I think a podcast could be really helpful.
That's incredible. Honestly, if you start that podcast, I have even on my end, I have a parent, similar situation, working through some power of attorney things right now. So, if you start that podcast, there's definitely a lane, just because this is something where it's not very typical. Even if you are going through it, I think sometimes, unless you find your tribe to have an outlet to share these things back and forth, you can feel very alone in the midst of that. So, I definitely will tune in. If you start and kick off that podcast, I'll be one of the people tuning in. And along those lines, I would think that, as with everything going on with your mom, even though it seems like she's in great shape, but even for you, it seems like there's also a connection that you have to have self-care and have just a desire for health and wellness, which you do have. Can you speak into, your health and wellness, whether it's your regimen, things you do on a daily basis, and even some of your interests in that arena?
You do have to look after yourself because, I remember mom always saying, well, if you don't look after yourself, then who's going to, and how are you going to help me? So, I always tried to eat very healthy. I don't have any specific diet, or I do stick mostly with poultry and fish. I'm not a vegetarian. I do my Daniel's fast every January, and I go vegetarian for a month, and then I'm back to chicken and fish. But I work out every day, at least 45 minutes a day, whether it's just walking or I have a, little home gym or whatnot, just to do something active. I did hear the other day that, if you do a lot of work in front of a computer, I forget who came up with this idea, but they said that, say you should do 25 minutes on and then step away for 5 minutes and then come back, just get away. So, in addition to that, I believe mental health is that's a huge thing. And whether you go and seek counseling, or whether you're just, like I was saying, call a friend and just and talk to them, you have to get those things out, those emotions out. I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, mental health, I'm so glad that so many more people are starting to talk about it. We've seen it over the past few years, I think, especially even since COVID, that, hey, no, yeah, we may be working out our bodies, but we have to work out our mind as well. And it's okay to kind of ask for help. And I want to know just how, like, in Hollywood itself, like, how hard is it to make sure you're balancing having good mental health? Because it's not just you're going to a normal 9-to-5 job, nobody's seeing you. You also can have people that start to critique you. Did you do a good job? Did you do a bad job? And people are very quick to say positive, but also very negative things online as well. So what advice do you have for somebody who's maybe getting new into Hollywood, into the entertainment industry, on how to protect what's up here?
I would say, again, stick with your friends. And if you don't have any, go seek counseling. Go out and every day, make sure that you're doing something that you love. Don't pay so much attention to social media because, it's social media. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of, what are they called? Computer warriors. I forget what they're called, but there's
a troll. Yeah.
Yeah, troll. Yeah, troll. There's another one, but anyway, don't. People can be jealous. Mm-hmm. People can be hurtful, and there where you have to take care of yourself. And like I said, for me, it's been having wonderful girlfriends that I've found over the years. It's taken a while to find my tribe, as you mentioned earlier, but that has been just so valuable for me.
That's amazing. Well, you know what? We are now your tribe. We're all besties now, and with that being said, we wanted to actually hit you with a bit of a wellness check in lieu of, we know you're on the West Coast in California right now. Are you okay? Is everything all right with the wildfires and the things like that have been going on? Are you good? Are you safe and sound? How's everything that been with you out there?
Oh, thank you for asking about that. Now, I was actually in North Carolina during the wildfires, and the area in LA that I'm in was not touched, thankfully, by the fire. There was a lot of smoke in the area, obviously, but thankfully, I am fine. I appreciate it, and just about everyone that I know came through it just fine. I do have one friend who did lose his home in Malibu, and he's quite a transition, not moving out of the country right now, but as I say, me and mine, we're pretty good.
Good. Yeah, it's definitely been scary, and I think that's the thing. It's everybody knows someone, or if not themselves, that had to deal with a tragedy out there in LA. But we're glad to hear that you're okay with that. Now, I know we spoke about a lot today from all different avenues, but I just want to know what's next for you in 2025. We know possibly a podcast, but is there anything else that we can look forward to and seeing with your career?
Well, with the This was a big thing for me, but now you'll watch for more of All the Queen's Men. I believe there's a movie that I worked on called On Fire, which I'm very excited about. I believe that was actually just released, I think of it. On Fire, I would encourage anyone to see it. It's a wonderful true story based on a book by John O'Leary, also called On Fire, and it's such an inspiration. It's his true story, and please see it.
Amazing, incredible. Well, Enya, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I feel like we could keep the conversation rolling and going, but we'll definitely be watching your career, seeing what you're up to next, and definitely checking out that podcast when it happens. Not if, when it happens. We're supporting you.
Yeah. And that, you know what? That just means you're going to have to come back once you launch it.
Yes.
I would love to. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you again. Enya Flack, everyone. Woo-hoo. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we have more of the show when we return, so don't go anywhere.